China has launched military exercises around Taiwan, lashing out against the country's vice president and election frontrunner William Lai for visiting the US this week. The drills, which the People's Liberation Army called a serious warning against the propagation of Taiwan independence forces colluding with external forces, came after Lai returned yesterday from one of the most low-profile US visits by a top Taiwanese politician in recent years. Good evening, I'm Chitrakar, and these are the headlines of the hour. Minister for Home Affairs Naran Kaji Shrestha says there is no need for another high-level investigation committee as the CIB will find all those involved in the gold smuggling scandal. The Medical Education Commission has disapproved affiliation granted to 44 educational institutions by CTVT without fulfilling required procedures. China conducts military drills after Taiwanese Vice President William Lai's recent visit to the US. Taiwan strongly condemns the military drills, saying they do not help peace and stability in the country. And Sweden blanked co-host Australia 2-0 to claim the bronze medal in the 9th edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Home Affairs Naran Kaji Shrestha has claimed that the Central Investigation Bureau (CIB) of Nepal Police will find the mastermind and all those involved in the gold smuggling scandal. During a press meet organized in Pokhara today, Minister Shrestha said that formation of a high-level probe committee to investigate the gold smuggling case was not required. He clarified that such committees that were earlier formed failed to publish their reports and that the state mechanism that was formed to including skilled and eligible personnel with its sole purpose of investigation must be allowed to work. Deputy Prime Minister Shrestha made remarks that the recent parliament obstruction by the main opposition was unfortunate. When questioned regarding the alleged involvement of CPN Mao's Centre Vice Chairperson Krishna Bahadur Mahara and his son in the gold scandal, Deputy Prime Minister Shrestha assured that those found guilty will be punished. He pledged to identify the network of gold smugglers in Nepal and take action against them. Likewise, he said that the security and management of the Tribhuvan International Airport will be revised and new plans and policies will be formulated if required. The Medical Education Commission has disapproved affiliation granted to 44 educational institutions by the Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training (CTVT) without fulfilling required procedures. CTVT had decided to grant affiliation to educational institutions allowing to conduct classes for general medicine, radiography, lab technology, Ayurveda and pharmacy, among other programs, almost a year ago. The meeting of the Commission approved the affiliation granted by CTVT to these educational institutions, citing it was against the law after the entities called for application of new students last month. As per the legal provision, approval from the Commission is required before granting affiliation of medical education. Now the process of acquiring affiliation must be repeated. Meanwhile, CTVT has said that it would fulfill the required procedures to grant affiliation. The Kathmandu metropolis will be giving financial assistance to provide lunch at schools for students of grade 6 to 10. The head of the Education Department of the metropolis, Sitaram Koirala, said that a decision has been made to provide 30 rupees per day for lunch to each student from grade 6 to 10 at community schools inside the metropolis. The authority has already corresponded with all the community schools in the Kathmandu in this regard. Meanwhile, the federal government has not provided such assistance to students of grade 6 to 10 so far. Likewise, the metropolis has decided to increase the amount provided to students from kindergarten to grade 5 to 30 rupees. Prior to this, the federal government had been providing 15 rupees each to students of this group. Conjunctivitis, which is an eye infection, has been spreading in eastern Himalayan district of Taplejung. Around 600 individuals have contracted the infection that began spreading in the district from the end of last month. According to the Eye Treatment Center, Taplejung, more than 80 patients have visited the center on a daily basis between 28th of July and 17th of August. Schools have been the most affected by the spread of conjunctivitis. Doctors have suggested to keep the eye area clean, rest and use eye drops to prevent from contracting the disease. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: why has the government failed to control inflation? The options are A, feeble monitoring, B, market out of control, and C, dependency on import. Voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. China conducted military drills today after Taiwanese Vice President William Lai's recent visit to America. The drills were strongly condemned by Taiwan. China has decided Lai as a troublemaker who backs Taiwanese independent separatists. China conducted military exercises around Taiwan today as a stern warning in reaction to the recent U.S. stopover by Taiwan's Vice President Lai. Taiwan's Defense Ministry said it had detected 42 Chinese aircraft and 8 ships involved in drills around the island. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry strongly condemned the military drills, saying they do not help peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. Taipei also said that the drills showcase China's militaristic mentality. The Defense Ministry's statement asserted that it would deploy the necessary forces and possesses the capability, resolve and confidence to safeguard national security. Taiwan's presidential office stated that the nation's military and security forces have a complete grasp of China's military actions, emphasizing that China is neglecting its international duties with its threats. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council urged China to stop using force and intimidation in favor of dialogue. The council emphasized that Taiwan's citizens are resolute in their defense and won't yield to threats. The United Nations has said more than 2,400 people have been killed in Haiti since the start of 2023 amid rampant gang violence, including hundreds killed in lynchings by vigilante mobs. The toll comes as gang violence in Haiti's capital of Port-au-Prince this week left 30 residents dead and more than a dozen injured. UN Rights Office spokesperson Ravina Shamdasani said that between January 1 and August 15th of this year, at least 2,439 people have been killed and a further 902 injured. In addition, she said that 951 people have been kidnapped during the same period. As anger grows over the gang violence, she warned that a rise in popular justice movements and self-defense groups was spurring further violence. Since April 24 up to mid-August, more than 350 people have been lynched by local people and vigilante groups, and of those, 310 were alleged gang members and 1 was a police officer. The remainder were members of the public. Houses in Port-au-Prince's Carrefour Feuilles neighborhood were set on fire in the attacks and 2 police officers also died. The neighborhood is a strategic area for the gangs, which control about 80% of Haiti's capital. Haiti has been mired for years in intertwining economic, security and political crisis. The assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021 has dramatically worsened the situation, with gangs taking an increasingly strong hold. As smoke fills the skies over West Kelowna, British Columbia yesterday, residents accustomed to fire season say this year it's a little scarier than most. British Columbia declared a state of emergency on Friday as firefighters battled a wildfire raging in the hills and mountains above the town of West Kelowna, forcing thousands of evacuations. West Kelowna, a city of 36,000 people, is some 300 kilometers east of Vancouver. Wildfires and evacuations were also being carried out in Kelowna, a city with a population of about 150,000, also on Okanagan Lake. The flames and smoke were visible from West Kelowna and smoke filled the valley surrounding the lake. More than 2,400 properties were evacuated and thousands more are on alert to leave with little notice if necessary. Hawaii Governor Josh Green yesterday described the scale of devastation on Maui following a wildfire as difficult to express, but vowed to thoroughly investigate the blaze. The fast-moving Maui brush fire, fueled by wind gusts up to 130 km per hour, raced down the slope of an extinct volcano and into the town of Lahaina on August 8, destroying or damaging 3,000 buildings and causing an estimated $5.5 billion in damage. The governor, who was accompanied by his wife, Jamie Kanani Green, at the news conference said over 2,000 housing units had been secured to house victims affected by the fire, and over 60% of the disaster area had been searched. Green added that criminal penalties would be imposed on those trying to take advantage of victims by acquiring property in the affected areas, without elaborating further. In the meantime, iron mesh fences have been installed along the wildfire-hit area of Lahaina, the worst-hit area in the fire-devastated Maui Island in Hawaii, to cordon off the fire-damaged zone. The sturdy iron nets have been erected by local authorities to cordon off the parts of Lahaina most heavily impacted by the raging wildfires. Over 878 hectares were scorched and thousands of houses destroyed in the blaze. The continuous fires in the past 10 days have completely interrupted the mobile phone and network signals in the western part of Maui, especially in Lahaina. Local network operators are rushing against time to repair the network these days, and they have set up emergency equipment vehicles to provide temporary network service, while local power equipment is also under repair. Switzerland is facing a shortage of essential medicines challenged by smaller market size, increasing import cost on pharmaceutical raw materials, and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Switzerland, a traditional pharmaceutical powerhouse, is home to the world's largest pharmaceutical companies as well as hundreds of biotech companies. However, Switzerland has recently suffered an acute shortage of essential medicines. According to the Swiss Federal Office of Public Health, the country faces shortages of antibiotics, painkillers, and essential drugs for treating chronic diseases such as heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes, which needs to be improved urgently. The Pharma Suisse said that the country's recent shortage of essential medicines is caused by multiple reasons. First of all, the profit of essential medicines is low and the Swiss market is relatively small, so large Swiss pharmaceutical companies lack motivation for the production of essential medicines. The second is that Switzerland is very dependent on overseas markets for supply of raw materials for essential medicines. In recent years, the supply chain of pharmaceutical raw materials has become unstable, resulting in increased import costs. In addition, many medicinal glass bottles in European pharmaceutical market come from Ukraine. Since the Russia-Ukraine conflict broke out, the shortage of medical glass bottles in Switzerland has also affected the production of essential medicines. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Home Minister Naran Shrestha says there is no need for another high-level investigation committee as the CIB will find all those involved in the goods smuggling scandal. The Medical Education Commission has disapproved affiliation granted to 44 educational institutions by CTEVT without fulfilling required procedures. China conducts military drills after Taiwanese Vice President William Lai's recent visit to the US. Taiwan strongly condemns the military drills. And Sweden blank co-host Australia 2-0 to claim the bronze medal in the 9th edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.